Chapter 6. Stand By Me. On Friday evening, the night before the race, Tim and Holly shared a quiet moment in her metallic violet-blue Mazda MX-5 Miata, parked in the large courtyard of HMP Croker. The high prison walls surrounded them, but inside the car the atmosphere felt calm and private. Holly glanced at him and suggested some music to lighten the mood. With his nod of agreement, she flicked on the radio. The cheesy early 2000s bop Kiss Kiss by Holly Valance filled the car, instantly bringing a wave of nostalgia over Tim. The melody took him straight back to his younger days, admitting to having a childhood celebrity crush on the Australian actress and singer after first seeing the music video on television. He couldn't help but point out the coincidence that she shared the same name, which made Holly smile, quietly amused and flattered. The nostalgic mood lingered as Tim jokingly drifted into a ridiculous childhood fantasy. Holly Valance starring in a stylish action film alongside Vin Diesel. The thought spiraled into him, reflecting on growing up watching Fast and Furious films, which had first sparked his obsession with cars, speed and driving. Holly chuckled. "That's a mad combo, Bab. I'd watch that." The absurd image drew an easy laugh between them. As the song built towards its second chorus, Holly's expression shifted into something more playful and confident. She started the engine. The MX-5's sharp note came alive across the courtyard. With a quick glance around the open space, she turned the wheel and dropped the clutch. The car snapped into a controlled clockwise donut drift. Tyres screeched against the concrete as the purple roadster spun in tight, precise circles, the engine rising and falling in rhythm with the music. One rotation became another, clean and confident, smoke curling from the rear tyres. Tim and Holly sang along badly as she held the drift, both laughing mid-spin as she corrected a slight slide and kept it perfectly balanced. From the passenger seat, Tim watched in genuine awe, impressed by her control and natural feel for the car. Across the courtyard, life in HMP Croker continued around them. Sajimon and Dane were playing cricket against Kieran and Richie. Barry had a kickabout with a football. Robert, BJ, Lizzie and Tessa were working on their cars. Cheers and whistles went up as they noticed Holly's driving, the brief spectacle cutting through the monotony of prison routine. The rogues watched from a distance. Matty sat in his Golf GTI 6, eyes fixed on Holly with a lingering, unpleasant grin that didn't quite hide his obsession. Lizzie muttered under her breath about the song choice, suggesting they should have played something like Taylor Swift instead. Dane snapped back from the pitch, defending the old-school pop track as part of the moment's energy. After a short while, a minder stepped into the courtyard and ordered Holly to stop. She eased off immediately, straightened the car and switched off the engine as the music faded. The courtyard settled back into controlled quiet. Tim turned to her, still impressed, telling her she was a seriously good driver, maybe even better than her famous namesake. Holly smirked and joked about doing donut drifts with Vin Diesel, the shared humour easing the tension completely. For a brief moment, the weight of the upcoming Brumsby 12 faded. The connection between them felt natural now, unforced, built through shared chaos and quiet understanding. The minder then ordered everyone back inside for the night. As the racers were escorted through the corridors, Tim noticed a sporty-looking car under the cover, parked beside the boss's grey Jaguar S-Type. He clocked it briefly but moved on when a minder dismissed the question. Later that night, the atmosphere in the prison shifted. Matty had been watching Holly throughout the day. Lingering looks, unwanted attention, small comments that had gone just far enough to be noticeable but not yet challenged. That quiet Pressure finally broke containment when he slipped into a room uninvited. Holly was preparing for bed when she saw him. Her expression changed instantly. She told him firmly to leave. He ignored her and stepped closer, invading her space. Holly didn't hesitate. She shoved him back and slapped him hard across the face, warning him again to stay away. The commotion reached the corridor. Tim, pacing in his own cell nearby, heard it and rushed in immediately, pulling Matty away from her. Holly followed right behind him, anger and fear still sharp in her voice. Together she and Tim confronted him, forcing him back, their presence unified and unshaken. Matty backed off under pressure, humiliated as the other racers stirred in their cells and watched through the gaps in doors. Within moments, minders arrived, having seen the incident on surveillance. They separated everyone and dragged Matty away into a segregation, a punishment block the prisoners referred to as isolation processing. He was taken down to a cold, controlled room stripped of any dignity, soaked as part of the disciplinary humiliation, washed down procedure before being left alone in isolation. The door locked behind him without ceremony. Back in the corridor, Holly stood shaken but steady. Tim instinctively stepped in front of her, shielding her as they were ordered back to their cells. She gave him a small nod in return. Not dramatic, just understood. That night, the prison went quiet. Tim lay in darkness, but sleep didn't come peacefully. His mind drifted first to the high points of his rally career. Speed, gravel, noise, victory laps, crowds roaring as he carved through stages in his 20s. It felt alive again, almost real. Then it shifted. Hospital lights, cold air, machines. He was 27 again, trapped in a bed as pneumonia took hold of his body. Tubes forced air into his lungs. Nurses worked around him as he struggled against weakness, panic rising as his body refused to obey him. Physiotherapy followed. Trembling legs, collapsing strength, frustration boiling over. He remembered shouting, insisting he was fine, insisting he could still drive, before everything fell apart again. Then the letter. Medical disqualification. World Rally Championship, effective immediately. Everything he had built dissolved into silence. Tim jolted awake in his cell, sweat drenched and shaking. The darkness pressed in until a soft voice broke through it. Holly had quietly come in, sensing something was wrong. Seeing him panicked, she sat beside him and pulled him close, steadying him as his breathing struggled to settle. He emitted it in fragments. The nightmare, the fear of going back to that moment in his life when everything was taken from him. She stayed with him, grounding him without pushing until his breathing slowed. They remained like that for a while, the silence no longer heavy, just shared. Eventually, exhaustion took over. Tim fell asleep properly for the first time that night, still holding onto his small plush Pingu mascot. Holly stayed with him, not letting go. The next morning on Saturday, a minder found them together and questioned it, assuming wrongdoing. They explained it as nothing more than comfort after a nightmare. The situation was dismissed. The race preparation taking priority. Shortly after, Matty was brought out of segregation, dishevelled and humiliated. As he passed through the corridor, the other racers reacted with visible disgust after learning what had happened. Even the rogues looked at him differently now, mocking him rather than supporting him. Tim stepped forward instinctively, placing himself between Matty and Holly without saying much. Matty slowed, locking eyes with him. "You'll pay for that, rally boy." Tim didn't answer. He just held his ground as Matty moved on, the threat left hanging in the air like a promise still waiting to happen.